Do you want your business to grow faster? Are you open to new and out-of-the-box ways to drive revenues and increase value? How do you imagine the most successful entrepreneurs and business leaders double, triple, or expand their businesses tenfold or more? The answer is Deals. This is a weekly podcast featuring conversations with business owners, executives, and leaders as we reveal behind-the-scenes details that give you, our listeners, the confidence to pursue your own deal-driven growth. On this show, we discuss a huge variety of deals, everything from large, complex mergers and acquisitions, capital raising, joint ventures, strategic alliances, real estate, affiliate and sponsorship deals, franchising, and more. My name is Corey Kupfer, and I've been supporting deal-driven growth for businesses for over 35 years as a successful entrepreneur, professional negotiator, and attorney. My goal is to help you strategize, plan for, find, and complete deals that will help your company grow faster. Welcome to the DealQuest Podcast. Let's get started. DealQuest community, this is another solo cast, and listen, I'm going to be straight up front with you here. I'm going to talk about something that I'd like you to help get involved in and hopefully get value from and share out to your connections. You know, we've done over 325 episodes of this podcast. Many of you have been listening from the beginning. Some of you have come along the way over the last 6 years. And one of the things that you know is that we don't do advertising on the podcast. We don't directly try to monetize, off the podcast. I'm not selling you something every week, driving you into some funnel for a new product every week or, touting anything that you got to buy. We're at the point now where we've gotten enough following and listenership where people have approached us to advertise on the podcast. We've chosen not to do that because we really wanted to stay authentic and give value. Now, listen, I don't want to be I'm not going to be disingenuous here. Anybody who knows anything about me knows that authenticity is a big part of who I am and what I preach. And obviously, I do get benefit from doing these episodes. I do get benefit from doing this podcast. It is part of an authority marketing strategy, which keeps me top of mind, and has people refer me, right? And refer my law firm and refer me for speaking engagements and things like that, right? It's just that. So it's not like, I do it to contribute. Yes, I absolutely do. I've picked a medium and a topic, obviously, that I'm passionate about, that I love talking about, and that for the far majority of listeners, I'm never going to make a penny off of them. And it gives me such joy to have contributed to their thinking about how they can grow their businesses, different deals they can do, being creative in inorganic growth, deal-driven growth for their businesses. And yes, it does help my business grow as well. It does help me, be seen as an authority and hopefully, more importantly than that, says, oh, hey, listen, I've gotten value, right, from Corey, from his guests. And, maybe that makes sense for me to recommend him to do work. Sure. Okay. But what I don't do is what normally is what I am going to do on this episode and just take the liberty after 320 something episodes of giving value to make a specific request of you all. Earlier this week, a few days ago, 5 days ago, I think, at the point that this launches, we launched an ebook. And the ebook, Secrets of Deal-Driven Growth workbook, is actually based upon 100 of these podcast episodes. And what we did was we took a single lesson from each of the many lessons within any given episode that we've had with guests. And we narrowed it down to a key lesson for that particular episode. And we put it in a workbook with a little page after each one where you can write your own insights and how you can apply it in your business. And of course, there's a link back to that particular episode. So what that does is it allows you, even if you've listened to all the episodes before, certainly if you haven't, or people who are looking to figure out different ways to grow their business, to read through these particular lessons and say, okay, I don't have to necessarily go back and listen to 100 episodes, but I can go back and say, oh, wait a second, these 5, 10, 15, 20 episodes out of those hundreds really appeal to me. They apply to where I'm at now. Oh, this person's talking about, growing their business through acquisition. Okay, great. This person is talking about strategic partnerships. Oh, that applies to me now, or I want to learn more about that. This person is talking about franchising. Oh, that might be something that I want to do. Oh, this person is talking about how I raise capital. That might be applicable to me, right? This person is talking about an acqui-hire. Oh, what is that? Maybe I need talent. Maybe I want to find out more about that. So what I'm saying is that, and listen, for some of you, obviously, if you're podcast listeners or watchers, that's a medium that appeals to you, but some of you can also get value from reading, or maybe folks who are less the people who will sit down and listen to a podcast every week, but they will they will take a look at an ebook. And then if there's something applicable to them, they can actually choose and go through to that particular episode that will give them a particular value. So I am requesting that you go on to Amazon, that you download the book, that you read it or, look at least the aspects that are applicable to you. And then ideally you leave a review, right? Again, I haven't even asked for reviews of the podcast generally, although you can certainly do that. It certainly helps us get reach. But what I'd love you to do, what I request you to do, if you've got any value throughout all these years of listening to the DealQuest podcast, is download the Secrets to Deal-Driven Growth ebook, workbook, and then leave a review for us on that. It'll help us reach more people, help us give our guests more exposure for all the great value they've given over the years and help them help more people. And that's my request, in this solo cast. And what I want to do to give you, because I can't help but try to give value and not have even this episode just be a pitch, I want to talk to you a little bit about this authority marketing conversation. And even though that's not directly deal driven, it can lead to deals as well. So let me give some content around that. So probably about 8-9 years ago, I first started, almost a decade ago, I guess, I first started really studying this concept. Maybe I'm doing math, maybe it's a little over a decade. And saying, my frustration was, and maybe you have this in your business, where in the early days, it's easy to keep up with clients and referral sources and industry partners and prospects and key, partner relationships because you're smaller. But as you grow and as you scale, it's harder to do that at scale in a way that's not impersonal, right? It's not a matter of sending out, automatically sending out holiday cards off of your list because I'll be frank, I don't know that anybody pays attention to that if it's nothing special. And, it's a matter of how do you stay top of mind with people, right? How do you make sure that they know what you care about, what you do, what you're great at, and things like that in a way that's authentic. And the best way that I realized to do that is to give value, like I talked about earlier. And then, but you got to promote that at scale to be able to, again, you'll be able to have to give value at scale to be able to do that in a way that makes sense as you grow, because it becomes impossible to do that one-on-one. So the first thing I did was I did a deal to do a book. Now, I don't want to overplay that. My choice was to do to work with a hybrid publisher where I actually wrote them a check because they did a lot, of service. It was one of these publishers, Advantage Media, that was set up to work with busy entrepreneurs who don't have a lot of time. Now, I did spend a lot of time writing the book because I wanted to make sure it was my words and it was really good, even though I had help from editors and from I wouldn't even call it a ghostwriter, but let's say a co-writer, somebody who helped me write it. But I did a lot of the rewriting and editing, on my own after they had worked up a draft based upon conversations with me because I wanted it to be my words. But I did use this service, right? So I sort of partnered. I had a publishing partner. And that's different from doing a book deal like my wife has done and others I've had on the podcast with a major publisher where they're writing you an advance check, sometimes small, sometimes rarely large. But that's a deal type to get a book out. Then, all right, I launched the podcast about 6 years ago. And again, I thought about, okay, if I'm going to do authority marketing, what is my medium? And you should think about this as well. Like, what is your best medium? What is your best topic? What is the best thing that you are excited and passionate about providing content on that also benefits your business? But then in what medium is best for you? Some people write. I got a lot of opportunities to write monthly or even weekly columns in various business publications where you can get a reputation. People have done that well. And I'm a good writer. It's just with my schedule and everything, to take the time and have that space to be able to come up with ideas from a blank space and write something on a consistent basis would be a huge, huge burden for me. I'm much better on audio and video and speaking. So that's the medium that I have chosen. And of course, the team repurposes that into written content, where it's show notes, blogs, social posts, things like that. And that's one of the advantages, by the way, and you don't have to do it this way, but if you are comfortable on video, it's actually the medium that you can then take audio from, turn into writing, take clips. It's the most flexible medium that gives you all different ways that you can pull content from it. And I've done that, and I built a team around that to help keep, the word out. And I say this often to people I know, and I'll say it straight out here. Yes, do we get business from listeners? We do. Do we get even more business from guest relationships that we build? We do. And that's the secret to a great podcast strategy is actually the guest relationships you build and the guests you have on can even be more valuable than listeners, especially when you are somebody like me who's not, like if you have a general interest podcast or a podcast where you use it to create, products at lower price points and funnels, then maybe getting millions and millions of listeners instead of tens of thousands like we have is, that's a different game. But for us, because it's a matter of key referrals for high-end clients who are looking to do significant deals or other, contracts or start companies and grow them, these referrals aren't in volume. They're high-ticket personal referrals, and the building the relationships with guests, really makes sense. And then, we're now launching the ebook. That's another part of the strategy to get the word and the name out there in a way that's scalable, but also is really taken from authentic content that's valuable to people. And that's, part of this whole strategy of what we've done. And of course, they built a team around me to do that. So one of the things I want you to think about in your business is how you can do some of these things, right? To stay top of mind at scale, to create yourself, to be seen as an authority, which again, could then lead to deals. I mean, for me, it's helped me attract key employees and business partners because they have seen my stuff. They know my philosophy. They know my commitment. They get to sort of see me in action a little bit in terms of my thinking and my philosophies and the questions I ask and the content I put out. And they get to know me a little bit, get to know what I'm about and what I know about, and what I care about. So we've attracted, key talent because of that. We've also gotten referrals because of that and created key industry partner relationships. And many other people use these kind of mediums also to create strategic alliances and joint ventures and joint marketing and online affiliate deals and things like that. So the whole authority marketing content strategy can lead you, right, to key industry partnerships and key deal partners that can help you grow your business even further outside of the exposure that it gives you, right? And like anything else we talk about, right, there's organic growth, inorganic growth, sales, marketing. So you can use a podcast for organic growth, right? You can just in other words, if your main thing is to get listeners to buy your product or service, that's great if that's what you do. That's not our main focus because we are much more, even in our organic growth, much more sort of partnership, key referral source, relationship building because of the nature of what we do, of not selling widgets. And I'm not saying that in any bad way. There are different business models lend themselves to different things, but we are driving folks to build relationships and people who work with, professionals, attorneys, accountants, consultants, things like that at a high scale for sophisticated folks are people who are going to want to build a relationship with somebody. But two things, it may be triggered by a piece of content, or when they're doing, even if it's off a referral, when they're doing their due diligence on you or your company and saying, hey, so-and-so referred, or maybe referred as one of a few options, I still want to check it out for myself and see if I connect and like this person and see what they're about, either even if they're the sole referral or if they're one of choices. I'm definitely going to do my research. And all of this, can help. So I would encourage you to think about what your medium for authority marketing is, how you want to get known out there in terms of your personal brand. And again, I'm not putting that down either, but I'm talking about personal branding in a very different way than being a Instagram or TikTok influencer, right? I'm talking about business owner, executive, personal brand, content, authority marketing conversation, and how that can lead you to the kind of exposure for organic and inorganic deal-driven growth that you can in your business. And so I hope you got some value in thinking this through for your own business. And I also am making that specific request of you. I'd love you to go download the ebook and let people know, maybe share it out on your networks if you've gotten value from the podcast, say, hey, this may be something that you'd be interested in, and go check out the Secrets of Deal-Driven Growth ebook workbook and see if it's valuable to you and your community. All right, thanks, folks. Next week, we're back with another great guest. Take care. Thank you for joining me on this episode of DealQuest, where we help you understand how deal-driven growth can be your ticket to freedom. If you are interested in finding out more about my law firm, the services we provide to entrepreneurial and growing companies across industries all over the country, and my partner Brian Megan and I, and my amazing team, just head over to cupforlaw.com. That's cupforlaw.com. And if you want to follow more of my content, head over to my LinkedIn page where I post regularly. I'm Corey Kupfer. Until next week, wishing you the freedom and financial prosperity that I know your DealQuest will bring.